Okay, so there is, I do sense for a lot of you, if there is a situation in which you have to repair something within your home, for example, like trying to find funding to fix a home, a leaky roof, faulty foundation, a hole in the wall, trying to patch up something within the home environment, within like the physical structure of the home. I do feel like a lot of you might be contemplating selling a property or moving out of your home and to find a new place for yourself, okay? In that situation, I do sense that you might want to do it as soon as possible. You might want to take care of it this month. However, the financial resources are not abundantly available to you, so you want to hold it off. If your living situation is kind of unbearable, if you're with other people, I don't feel that it's overall like unbearable. I just feel that a lot of you want your space, you want the independence, and you might, just want to break out of your shell a little bit. So if that's the situation, I do feel you don't have to worry. There is definitely money coming through for you, okay? So there is a whole concept of trying to apply for a loan, trying to consult somebody who has like a lot more insider knowledge than you do in order to start a new project for yourself. And in order to start this project, I do feel that a lot of you are looking to possibly rent a physical space, like an office. If you are thinking about like opening up, possibly like a restaurant, a bar, or something like that, I do feel with the King and the Queen of Cups, it does indicate to me like almost like people who own restaurants who are in the hospitality industry. So if this speaks to you, then I do sense that finding a location, finding a property to rent, finding a venue to rent out. You want a nice place, but I do feel most of the nice places will be outside of your price range for this moment in time. So if you want to like wait it out, it would be in your best interest to do so, and even like wait until the end of this month. And I do feel like a deal can come through for you, okay? For those of you who are seeking like a new home too, the same thing would apply, like any type of a new dwelling or a new physical environment, a new physical structure, like building, houses, and things like that. It's going to come into the picture for you like towards the end of this month. And I do sense that there's a little bit of competition associated with it. I have the Seven of Wands, which indicates to me that, for example, if you put a bid on a house, or if you put a bid on like a land, a piece of property, or anything like that for your new business, for example, I do feel that you might be outbid. So this situation itself, it can work out. However, you have to dish out a little bit of money, which you're not willing to part with the beginning of the month. But then towards the end of the month, you're going to realize that like, the competition is actually quite fierce. So I'm going to have to invest a little bit more money in than I originally anticipated. So then towards the end of the month, you're going to be a little bit more like aggressive about it, which is not a bad thing at all. And I do feel that it's going to steer you in the right direction. And I do sense a lot of competition as well coming through for you on that front. And at the same time, success is definitely in your hands, okay? So don't worry about it too much. And I do feel like there is a lump sum paid out to procure something by the end of this month. So it looks favorable. It looks like you will come, out victorious in this situation. If it's like a bidding war with another person, if it's like a situation where you have to get a praise. By the way, I just want to emphasize for this month, if you're looking into a property, I do feel that you might be a little bit starry-eyed, or you might have like rose-colored glasses on, and you might not be able to fully assess accurately how much something is worth, okay? Especially when it comes to like property, especially if it comes to like a physical environment, a home, and things like that. And I do sense as well when it comes to people, but we'll talk about people in a little bit. But I do feel like it's really difficult for you to gauge the value of something. So you might start out the beginning of the month overestimating how much money you have. And then you feel like, oh, that costs, for example, you might feel like that costs like $100, when in fact it's actually worth like 300. So getting a second opinion, like getting a consultant, getting an appraiser, or getting somebody to inspect the property, or even like getting a second opinion is going to be required of you. So you have to consult the experts in this situation in order for you to truly to get like the true value of how much something is worth, so that you can save adequately in order to acquire it. Because if you start out overestimating, or at least underestimating how much something is worth, then you're going to end up like dishing out a lot more than you anticipated, which will mean that you have to save up more to begin with, okay? So this whole sense of planning out how much you need to have in order to acquire something. I do feel for the theme of this month is like acquisition. So it can come in terms of people or physical dwelling, or like even property, okay? So acquiring things and people, and I feel horrible saying, acquiring things, but I do feel like I'll go back to that in a little bit, but I just want to get through this message through first in terms of objects and things. Make sure that you get your money's worth as well, okay? So there's that, it can be like double-sided, and in that you might underestimate some value of some thing, so it's important to get an appraiser or like a second opinion. And then likewise, you might be so like fascinated by something, and for example, like a property, you might be really fascinated by it and you give it more stock than it's worth, and then you get like a second opinion and you find out that it has all these faulty, wiring problems, and you find out it has a lot of problems that need to be fixed. So then you might like buy it and then have like buyer's remorse, and by the end of the month you're dishing out money in order to get it fixed, okay? So be very, very careful about purchasing big ticket items in general, and especially if you are not familiar with the items, the objects. Buying vehicles as well. I do feel vehicles, we have the Chariot in the upright position, is not such a big problem, but you might be a little bit hasty, okay? So just be careful about hasty decision. Get a second opinion, get a third opinion if you need to, because you really want to be clear about how much something is worth, okay? When it comes to people, I do feel that the same energy applies, because I do sense that, you are an earth sign, and earth signs in general are very slow and very meticulous about the pursuit. So if you are interested in somebody, and I feel like in general, when it comes to love and relationship, opposites tend to attract. At least if somebody wears their heart on their sleeves, you know where you stand with them, and you're more confident about pursuing them, because ultimately you know if they're interested in you, and that pretty much gives you like the green light to go ahead. So you might proceed with people who wear their heart on their sleeves, and you find out that they're like emotionally unstable. So that's one instance. Or you might, like you might feel that people who are very spontaneous, who are very like outgoing, friendly, and you feel that what you see is what you get, which is normally true. However, they might be like very, very impulsive. They might be very impatient. So that's like, those are like the drawbacks of those really outgoing, like what you see is what you get, because they might not be the most stable relationship partners, okay? And I'm saying this mainly because we do have like two different signs coming through for you. We have the water signs, which are like, they hold back a little bit. Still water runs deep, okay? So they have a lot of emotional depth. And I do feel as an earth sign, you would be more compatible with the water sign. However, the water signs showing up in this spread, I do feel that they require a little bit more work and patience on your end, okay? So for this month, don't judge a book by its cover. And I do feel like when it comes to people, I feel that you have to be the one to coax them out of their shell, or, like out of their lair, in order to get to know them. So anybody who's worth getting to know actually will require a little bit more work and a little bit more coaxing and a little bit more time on your end. So you have to invest your time wisely and aim for those people that are a little bit more reserved, because ultimately I feel that you're going to be more compatible with them. The ones that are like, kind of like hopping around, the ones that are socially dating, there's nothing wrong with them. I just feel that their energies might not be stable enough for you, okay? So for those of you dealing with like water signs, I do feel that if you're in a stable relationship with water signs, okay, there's kind of a little bit of an emotional withdrawal on their end. So I don't know exactly what it is they're going through, but I do feel that they're taking some time off to reflect on themselves and to take care of things on their end. So if they seem a little bit vacant to you and you're in a stable relationship with them, or at least you know where you stand with them, I don't feel that there are other people in their midst, but they are trying to take a breather and they're trying to take care of things, especially wrap up things from their end. A lot of them have like family issues that they need to tend to. A lot of them are dealing with like quarrels and disputes between loved ones and friends. So they might have to deal with that, and they might come to you and, kind of unburden, like unload. They might complain to you about, who it is that they're trying to mediate the arguments between, and just you have to be there in order to help them through it. So I do feel that for the beginning of the month, if you're in a relationship with water signs, they're going to feel very distant, and you're not going to know exactly what's going on, and they might be like unresponsive. But a lot of water signs in general, they need some time off to themselves to collect their thoughts, to process their feelings, and to come back to you a little bit more refreshed, okay? And especially if you are a male Taurus dealing with a water sign, I want you to give her as much space as possible, because we have essentially this situation in which, she's turning her back and you're kind of like attack on the offense, okay? So this is not a good thing to do, and especially when people just want their space, okay? So she's not going to be receptive. So especially for those Taurian men dealing with water sign women. If for some reason you are dealing with an air sign, I feel that the reverse is happening. The air sign might feel that you are, I feel in general, you have a lot of things that you need to take care of. There are a lot of like logistical things, like loose ends to wrap up and, things to finalize. This is like a bookkeeping type of month, and I don't feel like progress in, it's kind of like you hit one project, you tie it up, you let it go, and it's done. And then you have to do that with another project. So it's like a bunch of wrap-ups in projects in succession, and as a result, you're kind of busy, and you're kind of like all over the place. Not in a bad way, but I do feel like there's a lot of a little bit of travel associated with it, like taking short trips on the work front, or even like traveling to tie up all these loose ends to finalize all these projects. And I do feel that it's a busy energy, okay? It's not like entirely frazzled or even, very, very kinetic, but I do feel there are a lot of little things that you have to keep on top of. And as a result, you might not have, you might be a little bit neglectful. If you're in a relationship with an air sign, you might be a little bit forgetful about, dates and time and things like that. So they're kind of charging at you, and they're feeling like neglected. So just keep that in mind, okay? Pay more attention to your air sign lovers or partners if you're in a relationship with them. And I do sense that I mentioned, like, I feel like last month there was a big expenditure that you're planning for. It could be payment for this house, for example, that's coming through, or it could be, the loan processing stages. You're being approved, and you have to finalize things on your end. So there are a lot of like little bookkeeping contracts, submitting paperwork and things like that. Very tedious, like bookkeeping type of things I'm sensing, and like consulting people, getting callback, playing phone tag, just little annoyances here and there. So then you're not in one place, and your partner might be wondering where you are, like what's going on and what you're doing. So they're kind of like coming to you in a little bit of a forceful manner. So it's really important for you to just keep on top of these things, and just try to ask for a break. I don't mean like a physical, a severance from a partner, but just tell them, I have a lot of little loose things to keep on top of. So, I need like a few days to sort this out. So that way they don't feel neglected and abandoned, okay? It might lead to like disagreements, which basically eats up more of your time that you already don't have. So, just try to preemptively protect your partner, I guess, protect the relationship. Okay, so Another energy that I do feel is that I do sense a lot of you are starting on a brand new phase in your life, okay? And you're feeling very good and very confident about this. And I do feel it is indicative of the Three of Wands. Basically, the planning stages and or the drawing, you know, doing the blueprint. It's all finished. So right now you're taking the big first step towards, you know, the rest of your future. And there's like a very, very good dynamic energy here, and you're very enthusiastic about this, and you feel that, you know, total success is going to come in. So this is basically taking that first initial step, and then when you walk the full way, you're going to hit, you know, payday, and then you're going to be able to celebrate. So right now, this period of like anticipation and this really momentous milestone in your life, I do feel that there's a sense of hesitancy, and also you're very excited. You're very excited about it. So make sure you come prepared, okay? So make sure you go prepared. So whenever I see this card, I think of, you know, like Moses trekking through the desert for some reason. I do feel that it is somebody that is very brave, taking the first step, and he's probably going to be, you know, walking through a new uncharted territory. And because of it, it sounds very exciting. But being an earth sign, I do sense that for this month, it is really important for you to take stock of what you have and go on this voyage like prepared, okay? In the background, what you see are ships. So this is a water, like a body of water. However, whenever I see this card, I always think of, you know, like Moses crossing the desert, like literally. And I do feel that, you know, based on what he's wearing, and, you know, it's a long trek through the desert. So arm yourself accordingly, prepare yourself, have all the back things up, you know. So what I mean is like all these little finishing touches you have to do. They're they're little things, but in the greater scheme of things, they're actually very, very important. So make sure you head off this project in a very prepared manner, so that you don't have to backtrack, so that you don't have to fix anything, because that's going to eat up a lot of time. And you want to like get this off on the right foot and have like just get it off right. So I do feel that a little bit more preparation will be required for the first 2 weeks. So make sure you take the time to do a run through one more time before you embark on this new phase, okay? And aside from that, I do feel there will be a lot of little trips through town, trying to meet up with consultants, trying to meet up with people. And I do feel like trying to meet up with experts, somebody who's very knowledgeable in their field, and you need their expertise. You're willing to pay for their services. So you're going to see like a series of service people, a series of consultants, and you're trying to get a big plan in order. And it has a very favorable outcome. But the process itself is a little bit time and energy and money consuming, okay? So keep that in mind and save for this month, all right? Whatever financial windfall that's coming in through like the last week of of July even, I do sense that you should save it up so that you have enough in order to prepare or launch this new project, okay? So overall, it is a really, really good month. It's looking to be, you know, filled with success, new opportunities, very, very favorable people, excuse me. All the people are in the upright position, so it's very other oriented, but at the same time I do feel that you're embarking on this project as something that is like your love child. However, other people are going to like be along to help you, okay? So all these trips that you're taking in order to seek like advice from other people is going to pay off, and it's going to make you very well-rounded with knowledge, and we're very well like prepared in order to embark on this new phase in your life.